Trunks is back!
What is up, Dragon Ball fans? You are watching George Reviews. I am the 80s Transformers fan, and today on George Reviews, we have another S.H. Figuarts figure. This is Trunks, the boy from the future. I know that because it says it on the box, and I'm a fan of the property. Also, on the front of the box, we have Dragon Ball Z, we have Tamashii Nations, we have BanDai right here, we have Toy Animations, and we have the Tamashii Nations seal of quality right here. We have a window box packaging where we can see pretty much most of the figure. For whatever reason, my Trunks is looking down. He's sad, but we'll get him unsad when we get him open. You can see 3 of his interchangeable faceplates, his sword in the sheath right here, and if you turn to the side, you can see his interchangeable full head. A picture of the actual toy on the front of the box, done in color and in black and white. As you swing the box around, it turns to black and white or completely black and white. On the back of the box, we have some poses of the figure within the package. We have BanDai Spirits down there. Side of the box, we get Super Saiyan Trunks, the boy from the future on the side. And the bottom of the box, more Trunks and more Super Saiyan S.H. Figuarts right there. And nothing else going with the box. We are going to get Trunks open and check him out. Bam, this is Trunks in a clamshell right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of hands, not counting the ones that's on his body. An extra bang for the front of his hair, the extra head. I forgot about the extra bang where you could change the look or whatnot. His sword. And inside the box there is nothing further. We get a little bit of instructions on an inner panel right here. How to interchange his hands. How to put the sword into his hand right there. Make sure you don't break it. And how to put the sword, strap the sword to his back by removing his head, extending his arm. And a few things right there. Oh yeah, that is all. Let's get the boy from the future out of his clamshell. I don't believe these things come with any tape. They're just in here. Bam. I remember watching, I discovered Dragon Ball Z before I knew about Dragon Ball. I discovered it on Cartoon Network. Ooh, I heard about the legs kind of being loose on this guy. I discovered it on Cartoon Network, and when Trunks showed up and did his thing, it was a total surprise for me. It was a total shock. I thought it was amazing with the Frieza, and we had another Super Saiyan. Back when Super Saiyan actually meant something, it was just incredible to see this guy show up. As you see, he has like this little piece of plastic right here. Let's get that off. And I always thought this was like to protect like certain paint apps. Well, I guess the chest right here. No, this is all like a charcoal black or charcoal gray plastic. So I don't know why that's in there. I don't know. And I heard about the back of the jacket being broke up to help with articulation. Everybody whined and cried about it. And my thing is like, I don't think it's going to bother me too much. I'm like, why wouldn't they give him interchangeable arms where he had bare arms also? Like, cause a couple times we've seen him like transform and burn the jacket off through his transformation. But anyway, this is our figure, and these are all the Trunks accessories. So let's get started. Bring Trunks closer and take a look at that face sculpt and the face printing. Looks pretty good. The bluish green eyes, Super Saiyan eyes look good. They're printed on correctly on mine. Has some outline to them, some lining underneath his eyes and over his eyebrows. The eyebrows are a little bit more yellow than the plastic of his hair. At least I think this is plastic. I know he has one little striping down the middle, sort of mustard yellow, but I believe this is all yellow plastic back here. A little line work in his hair back here, and this jacket is very soft, by the way. Turn him around. Let's pull this little front piece off his frontal. And yes, this is all yellow plastic up here. A little bit closer look at Trunks without the bang hanging in his face. Put that back on. Yeah, that looks great. I mean, that's him through and through right there. And the figure is pretty much like what you see, like it's plastic. Like the jacket is a purplish plastic. It's coming across kind of blue in my monitor, but he has on a purple jacket. The tank top underneath is a charcoal gray or charcoal black, depending on what you call it. I call it charcoal gray plastic. And his chest skin tone is painted on top of that. I know that because it's kind of off the line work right there. It's a little bit bleeding over. And this neck right here, he has a gap like the Dragon Ball Superhero movie Vegeta version I got. It's A little bit of an eyesore. Like if you kind of bring it down, then his head's looking down, but looking straight up, he has a gap. So again, the jacket is all plastic. His capsule corp right here on the sleeve. It appears to be tampographed on. It's pretty good. Coming to his waist, his belt is a separate, softer piece of plastic right there. It appears to be this orange plastic, and then everything else is paint. This blue, this metallic belt buckle, and the orange right there appears to be paint. The entire pants sculpted pretty well. I can see that these legs are like the 3.0 or 3.5, I think 3.0 legs. And it's all gray plastic. Coming down to his boots, his entire boot is this orange plastic, and the toes and the back of the boots are painted. Underneath the boots are painted. So that is paint, but not a lot going on with this guy. Oh, we have some buttons on the sleeves, painted gold right there, and they're on the scope perfectly. That looks good. So that is it for like the paintwork. Looking at Trunks, he looks pretty good. And I mentioned it before, like this one leg wants to wobble a little bit, and you can kind of feel it. And everyone's calling this the figure of the year. We will see. So let's get started on figure of the year's articulation. Turn Trunks to the side, see how far you can look up. He kind of has this collar piece in the way. And this is a two-part piece, and you can tell with this, he's gonna come in a shirtless version down the road with his arms out, which they should have did in this. They should have gave you all the Trunks we need in this, and maybe boosted the price up a little bit. So let's get on with the articulation. Coming to his shoulders, we see how far we can get his shoulders up, and this is pretty far, and especially wearing a jacket. You can get these up pretty darn far. And he has the butterfly hinge in the shoulders. We can bring up. Here's his arm. I've seen videos, you know, I watch videos anticipating my figure, and his left arm comes off on all these figures. It's not just a few or the first run. It's on mine too. But back to the butterfly hands, we can get the hands completely across. I know he's going to be able to hold the sword and Trunks. They would not make this figure unless the hands came across perfectly in a sword holding position. And then because these two pieces back here move with the articulation, it covers up any gapping that would have been present otherwise. And that's kind of a clever design, even though people complain about this area right here. So we have that. And coming down to his bicep swivel, I'm scared to use this arm. Fully 360 right there. Oh wait, the arm will fully 360 right here as well. Then the bicep swivel, full 360. Elbow bend is double hinge, hoping this arm doesn't come back off. Coming down to his wrist, it can move in and out. I don't know about up and down. A little bit up and down in 360 because it's on a ball joint. It pops out to interchange the hands. And then he has this abdominal articulation where we could get him looking down. This much was a lot, and if you add his neck articulation, that is a lot. So, and then it also rotates at that joint. It will probably 360, but I don't want to go all the way around like that and stretch out the plastic. And coming to his waist, we got waist articulation again. This probably will 360, but I don't think it's necessary. The human body doesn't 360. I'm not gonna do it here. If you move the belt, you can kind of see the peg where it's connected. Coming to his legs, these new legs right here, he can get a full split. Coming to the front this far and to the back this far. It's kind of hitting on his butt piece. If you moved it out, you can get more out of it, but that's kind of not humanly possible. But you can get that maybe for some photography. And that same joint right here rotates in and out right there. And when you rotate it out, there's more wrinkle in the pants that kind of make it match up, even though it's articulated out, which is very cool. Coming down to his knee, it is double jointed right there. We get this much. Coming down to his boot, there is no boot cut to speak of. And maybe I'm not turning hard enough. I don't know. We're not going to find out. And coming to his ankle, there's kind of a big ball joint there. There's some left, right, rocks this far to the front, this far to the back. Not a whole lot. And we get a toe articulation right there. So his articulation is pretty good. And I'm kind of happy with it despite that arm popping out, man. This is so moving on. Let's take a look at some of Trunks' accessories. We're going to start with his fist, get his hands up. And speaking of fists, before I change them out, let's take a look, closer look. Well molded in fingers and thumb right there. It's a closed fist, no gapping. That's important because we're going to change the fist out. And the first set I'm going to pop out on camera, and then I'm going to try to save some film. Here are the ball joints. And then the first set of hands in the packaging, at least in the order that I'm looking at them, are these flat hands like this. Bam, put that one on and this one on. And while I was doing that, the arm came right off. Let's put this arm back on. It's probably going to be a theme throughout the video. And let's take a look at these hands. I guess these are blaster hands. Energy Blast hands. He has well molded fingers, well defined molding in the palm of his hands. The thumb is folded in, and it sort of looks like when him and Krillin went to Dr. Giro's underground laboratory and they blew up Cell in the jar. And these hands right here are some open palm hands. This is another Ki Blast hand, specific from the episode where he fought Frieza. I think this is a Masenko Blast that he learned from Gohan, which Gohan learned from Piccolo, and he shot it at Frieza and King Cold to distract Frieza, only to chop him in half immediately after. And again, there's good molding on the palm side of the hands. Looks very good. Alright, next up is some more like Ki Blast hands, Energy Blast hands, or whatnot. I think this is when he was like, hey Frieza! And there's that arm again. He made like the little martial arts gesture and hand movements that was kind of cool that he never used again. We thought it was going to be a signature and we never saw it again. And you can use it as an individual blast. Wish he had some type of orb effect of an Energy Blast to put in his hand, and it's like, I need to stop using his arm because it's going to keep coming off. But these hands are cool. Same detail, same articulation. And now we have sword wielding hands right here. And they're open grip type hands. The thumb is connected to the fingers, so it's going to have to slide through. Alright, it might not look like it, but these are the next set of hands. And the only thing I can see different is the positioning of the thumb. Looks like the thumb is up higher on this set of hands. Let's see if I can get this in here and we can do a side by side. You can see it. This thumb right here sits up higher on the hand. Alright, now speaking of hands, let's move on to something we can put in his hand. Here is the sheath for the sword. It appears to be orange plastic or brownish. I don't even know what color it is. Brownish orange plastic. I think it is. This may be paint. And the green color is definitely paint because I can see it bleeding through a little bit. Like right in here, you can see where it's painted over. And I'm assuming the silver tips are paint as well. And we have the sword. Bam! And I believe all this is paint. This is silver paint, and this is some brown paint right here on the hilt. And this thing separates to get in his hand, which is kind of scary because you're left with this little tiny piece. And if you drop it and it rolls somewhere, you'll never see it again. But let's get it into his hand. Gonna slide it in like that. Bam. And he has a firm grip on the sword even without the little piece on the bottom right there. And we're gonna go two hands if this arm will cooperate. Let me move the shoulder separately. This really sucks. At a $65 price point and you got this hand coming off and people are heralding it as figure of the year. I'm gonna try to see if I can do something to keep my arm from coming out or whatever before this video is over, but you shouldn't have to do that with a high-end toy like this. Then we're going to re-add the butt of the sword, and bam, he holds it no problem with two hands. And I probably can get his hands in more for a better grip because we're going to have to chop Frieza in half at some point. But yeah, he holds it just fine right there, no problems at all. Frieza! But we got to have some place to sheath the sword, right? Let's get the sword sheath on his back. Alright, here is the strap, and it appears to be this greenish blue plastic right here. And with a painted buckle and a little bit of orange in there. I think the buckle goes this way because here's the part that clicks on the left side, at least my left side. And here is the sheath. There's a larger hole and a smaller hole, and it follows through on this little piece right here. I'm going to try to peg this in. And this worries me already. Like, I think they should have had a better design. Trying to get this in and out, it might wear off eventually. But it should have been slotted where you can just, like a little groove right here, and you can pull it into the groove and it could just come out without breaking or something like that. But anyway, this one at the bottom doesn't want to go in like the top. I don't feel it like popping in. Now we are supposed to, according to the flap of the box, lift this arm up and remove the head. And underneath is a orange peg right there. Why they didn't do the rest of his flesh tone, I don't know. Same thing under the base of the head. So we take the sheath and slide it over. I don't know how this is going to work. Let's move his jacket. And man, this jacket is very pliable, by the way. And we got it over. We got it on. like the sheath. So while we got the head off, we're gonna go for the interchangeable head right now. And bam, we got our Trunks. Let's get the sword in here. Shh. Oh, you're good. No, you're great. Those same moves turn Frieza into cold cuts. Let's take a look at Trunks now that he's sorted up in his base form. A lot of people are angry because he only came with one facial expression, but I'm sure they're going to revisit this figure. Maybe when we get Mecha Frieza that he chopped in half, he might come with a faceplate for this guy. And I know we're going to have another Trunks down the line with the long hair, short hair, and all of that, based on the same body. So there's that to look forward to. Bring him closer, take a look at his face. And he has the blue eyes with a white dot for the pupil. Hope that's coming across right there. I can see it with my naked eye. Stern look on his face. It looks good. Everything is done well on his face printing. Can't complain. His hair separates. And the fact that this isn't just one piece of hair or hair, like you know they're going to like reuse this. It's coming. And they're going to have the same head, maybe with different frontal piece, the longer hair hanging down or something like that. But they are going to use this again. Let me see if the faceplate comes off. Yep, the faceplate comes off and everything. So this is all ready to roll for Trunks' next figure. But yeah, it looks good. The lines in his hair look good. It's mostly hidden right there where I took it apart. You can kind of see it, of course. And the back of his head, let's move his collar. Back of his hair looks good. It is Trunks. It looks good. See if we can get him reaching back for his sword. Yeah, I switched the hands out on you, because I wanted to do this. Bam. And let's get him down here like this. And let's see if we can get him against the cartoon model. Looks just like the cartoon. The cartoon a little bit slender, but let's get his head off. Switching back to Super Saiyan. Alright, now to switch out Trunks' faceplate. Take the hair off. Let's pull this off right here and kind of show that off already. And we're going to take the look into the side face. Plug that in. Plug the hair back on. And I think, well, you can always have these guys looking off to the side, but he was looking off to the side as he sliced Frieza. And he was kind of staring at Frieza like, you knew you shouldn't have messed with me. Right there. Face printing looks good. Face printing looks good on all my face copies so far. And again, okay, here's Trunks with the yelling face, either transformation or coming down to slice Frieza. You can see his teeth. These open mouth faces are great. You can see his teeth, his tongue. His tongue even has a little bit of a curvature. You can see the line down the middle right there. And then some dark space in there. Again, the eye printing looks good. The eyebrows looks good. Everything's good. Last face in the package is this very angry, gritting his teeth face. Let's take a look at his eyes. They look good. Bangs in the way. Eyes look good. They're kind of closer to his nose than the other eyes, but it looks good. I don't think I'll be using this. Is my least favorite of the faces. Nothing wrong with it. Just my least favorite right here. The other ones. The last thing in the package is the interchangeable hair frontal. Take this face off as well. Go with the yelling face. I mean, he's gonna wear this all the time. He'll be screaming forever on my shelf. And add the bangs right here. These are, the hair is curled up more in the front. Let me bring it back out. I gotta just tell you. Curled up more in the front, and these like little whiskers are up higher. Now, this head looks like when he went home and killed
it's you.
17 and 18.
The name's Trunks.
And he had this little part, and even he killed Cell like with this little bit of bang hanging in his face. This is definitely from when he time traveled back. At least if my memory serves, this is what it is. And they're probably going to use this on a future figure. I'm telling you, we're going to get this guy in a tank top or whatever. And I don't understand why they didn't just make this interchangeable right here, pump up the price. Maybe they wanted to see what the interest was in this figure or whatever, gauge the market. But they should have just did it all now. Interchangeable arms, we could have had damn near every Trunks we needed except for like the long hair version. And I'm pretty sure the long hair and the Saiyan armor is coming too. So we might be able to get a chance to mix and match and make our own Trunks down the road. Okay, it's time to give Trunks the size up in the rundown. Here's Trunks next to Super Saiyan Vegeta and base form Goku. I just realized I don't have an open Super Saiyan Goku. I need to take care of that. Here's Trunks next to Super Saiyan Broly. Masters of the Universe 40th Anniversary He-Man, Marvel Legends Cable, and Transformers Beast Wars Optimus Primal. Let me know when you get that one. Okay, real quick, I want to squeeze in a commentary on the Super Saiyan here. And I got 3 different Super Saiyans there, a lot of Super Saiyans, and I know they change the hair all the time, but that's my problem. That's what I want to talk about. The Super Saiyan hair just keeps changing. I know they do it for con exclusives and reissues, but they really need to pick a Super Saiyan hair and just roll with it, because I think all these guys are at Super Saiyan level 1, and we got 3 different Super Saiyan 1 hair colors. And in my mind, like watching the cartoon back in the day, I always assumed the hair was always glowing. It just didn't turn like literally blonde. I felt like the power emanating inside of them had it glowing. And when Trunks first showed up, in my mind, he confirmed it, or the animation confirmed it, and it just had a glow to it. And when it's not glowing, I just assume it's just cheaper to animate it that way. Just like the ore we see always around the Saiyans when they power up, I assume that it's always there and everybody could always see it. It's just they don't animate it all the time, or they put it in for dramatic effect, like they're going even higher in power. But there's nothing wrong with this hair, but I prefer the translucent one. And after the translucent, I love this metallic here on Vegeta. He came out in tandem with this Trunks, by the way, and it's kind of weird that we got 2 different Super Saiyan hair, father and son, and they were released at the same time. And I know this may have been done because it's a reissue and they want to distinguish it from the previous releases. But again, we're getting these random colors of Super Saiyan here. And then this version of Broly, man, I don't know what's going on with this mustard yellow. Trying to fit them all in. He has some darker mustard like highlights in between the strands of hair. And oh, this has got to be my least favorite. I never ever display it this way. I brought it out just for this little segment to talk about it. What are your thoughts on what they do with the Super Saiyan hair? Are you like me? Do you like the translucent hair on the Super Saiyans? Or do you prefer this matte finish, which seems to be the opinion of the S.H Figuarts Dragon Ball Z community? Okay, now my final thoughts on Trunks. We'll start with the accessories. The accessories are all cool, and I'm going to say the same thing every time I don't get it. I would like an energy effect. Some type of, it could have been just an orb, but something to go with this guy to make it a little bit more special. Because, I mean, when you pose these guys, they're posing in battle positions, and they're just known for throwing energy effects, ki blasts. But other than that, the accessories were fine. The amount of faceplates and the extra head is actually a bonus head because the package tells you Super Saiyan Trunks. So as far as straight up going on with the figure, the strap to the sword sheath at the bottom pops out all the time. If you move it around, it keeps coming out. That is annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. But what is the deal breaker is that arm that just keeps coming off when you pose it and pull it. Now, if you just touch the shoulder and move it at the shoulder, if you are careful, it will not come off. But for 65 bucks, and depending on where you got it from and had it shipped, 65 plus, let's say around 70 bucks after taxes, you don't want your arm coming off. The legs are a little wobbly when you shake them, but they hold every position you need while you're posing them. So, I mean, is it just, am I nitpicking when I bring that up because everybody else brought it up? I don't know. So, basically, that arm is, it bugs the hell out of me. I'm going to try to put a dab of glue on it and let it dry to make that little joint piece thicker. And then once it's dry, shove it back in there. Hopefully, it holds tighter. Without the arm problem, I would give this figure a 9 out of 10. If he had an energy effect, it'd be a 10 out of 10. But with the problem with the arm, I gotta drop it down to a 7. He's a cool figure. I can see why people are saying he's figure of the year. The little jacket on him looks fantastic. The belt, man, I mean, he's a living cartoon actually. So he might be my favorite figure open if I could do something with this arm. But right now, I'm still in love with my Super Saiyan Vegeta, probably just because it's Vegeta. But that's all I got. This figure is currently available at retailers online everywhere. And I want to thank you all for watching another episode of George Reviews, the reviews where every toy has a story.